Good day to you. This is teacher Leland, Alejandro, and we're going to discuss literal equations. Since you're working now on your literal equations activities, we're going to have some examples so that you will have some easy work there. So let's see the problem set. Let's try this literal equations over here. There is the first number. Let's put space here. Let's annotate it. All right, let's have the solution. Okay, for the following literal equations, you are asked to solve for a particular letter in terms of the other variables. So for the first number here, you have an equation 5 times x squared over w is equal to y plus 3 over 2. Okay, so you can see the equation over here. Now you're asked to solve for y in terms of the other variables. All right, so let's have the solution. All right, okay, let me show you the solution. Let's use what color do you like? Red. Okay, so let's use the red or blue. Okay, if we use red, let me just adjust it. Okay, we have here the equation. Now we're after the y here, so we can start by multiplying both sides by the number 2. So this is the working equation. 2 times 5x squared over w. Okay, that will be the left side. And the right side, of course, is also 2 times y plus 3 over 2. Okay, in literal equations, you have to identify your steps, okay, of operations. Well, you only need to identify if you're going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide, okay? Now, in the first number, you're after this y here, the y. So we will start by removing the fraction, which is y plus 3 over 2. So by multiplying both sides by the 2, this will divide there. And the left side will become 10x squared. We have 2 times 5 there, so this will become 10x squared over w. And the right side is now simpler without the number 2 anymore. So this will just be y plus 3 there. Now you have to ask yourself, what should be next? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Well, your objective is to have y in terms of the other. And as you can see here, the right side is y plus 3. If you can only remove the 3, then it's already y equal to something, okay? So you can see a plus 3 there, plus 3. So to make that 0, instead of a plus 3, we're going to add a negative 3. Or in other words, we will subtract 3. And if you subtract 3, we will have to do it on both sides. So this will now be 10x squared over w minus 3. That is our left side, and you have here the right side y plus 3, also minus 3 there. And you will notice this 3 and the other 3 is 0 there. And you now have y. After this, you will have this 10x squared over w minus 3 equals y. There you have it. We were able to solve y in terms of the other variables, in terms of x, w, and the numbers. But then you don't write your answer this way. Usually it's the required letter equal to something. So we will just rewrite this and we are done. We will write it this way. Y is equal 10x squared over W minus 3. There. This is the required answer. Okay, so that goes to our first number. Let's have the next. Okay, so you study how to identify what steps. It's only very limited steps. It's either use addition to simplify, subtract to simplify, multiply to simplify, or divide to simplify. And it can be in series or yeah, sequential. Okay, after add, you may do divide. After multiply, you might do subtract. It's like that. Any of those can be your first step and second step, third, and so forth and so on until you get the required equation. Okay, so this is the answer there. That is y equals, all right, in terms of the other variables. This is how we do a literal equation. All right, let's continue with the second number. Let me clear this out. Okay, and we will just continue with the next number. I'll scroll down. Okay, here's the second number. Let us put the third downwards. We will do that later. All right. Number 2 is here. Let's put this up. Okay. X is equal to 4 times the quantity y plus 77. Okay, that's supposed to be a product, and then divided by 5. Okay, now you're asked to solve for y. Okay, starting from the given. Okay, let us use blue. All right, let's use blue this time. All right. Okay, so usually in your solution, you start with the given. Okay, and then you have 4 times y plus 77 over 5. There. Okay, notice you're after the y, and the y is inside the parentheses, added to 77. Okay, now you have 4 and the 5 at the denominator. So you can start by multiplying it by a fraction, 5 over 4. Okay, because in the equation that you see here, this is the same as 4 over 5. So the way to remove the 4 over 5, we multiply it by 5 over 4. So this is how you do it. Multiply both sides by 5 over 4. There. And the x. And here you have to multiply by 5 over 4 also. There. And you have the given 4 times the quantity y plus 77 over 5. There. Okay. How come we multiply it by 5 over 4? All right. What you will see here, this 5 divides by the 5. It cancels out. Also, the 4 cancels out with the 4. And the right side will just become y plus 77. You have there y plus 77. And the left side is 5 over 4 times x, or simply 5x over 4. There. And you see, you now have y plus 77. The only thing you need to do is now to isolate that 77 from y, and you're done. All right, you have to identify. Are you going to divide to remove the 77? Are you going to multiply to remove the 77? Okay. Are you going to subtract to remove the 77? Those are the questions you need to answer so that you know the correct step. All right, it looks like that is y plus 77. They're added, so you cannot divide to cancel it. So what you'll do is subtract. Okay, so what you need to do now is subtract. You have here 5x over 4 minus 77 on both sides. So you have there y plus 77 minus 77 there. And you see the 77 cancels out. You now have the right side, just the letter y. So this will continue like this. Okay, the right side is now just y. And the left side, of course, is 5x over 4 minus 77. 5x over 4 minus 77. And you're almost done. You only need to swap places there. Y should be at the left, and then the expression at the left should be at the right. So the final answer, you put the y at the left side, like that. And then you swap positions. The 5x over 4 minus 77 over here. There. And that's it. That's the required y equal to something there. Okay? So this is how you do your literal equations. All right, so this is number 2. Let's continue with the third. I hope you're learning from this. Let's have the next. Let's do number 3 over here. Now here's number 3. Let's move the 4 down. All right, here's number 3. We have an equation C equals x1 times m minus x2 times m. Okay, solve for m. Okay, you have the m in 2 terms. To isolate the m, you will do the so-called factoring. Okay, you will have to do the factoring. Okay, you have C equals x1m minus x2m. You see a common factor, m. You can put it in a grouping symbol and move it out. Like this. Using the distributive property, okay, distributive property, because m times x1 minus x2 means x1m minus x2m, okay? Remember distributive property? Distributive property. Okay, you have something like m x1 minus x2 is equal to x1m minus x2m. There, that's distributive property. So these are equivalent. So therefore, we can do something like this. Okay. If you can distribute the m, you can also write it this way, or write it this way. Okay. All right. And so we now have the equivalent at the right side. So this will continue. All right. You can now divide after this. Okay. Because the m and x1 minus x2 are now factors. So the next step is divide, okay? Remember, you have to identify the next step, okay? You have m, you have x1 minus x2. To solve for m, we need to isolate the x1 minus x2 by way of divide, like this. So you have here x1 minus x2 divisor. Also here, x1 minus x2 divisor. There. And remember, this is one piece, and this is one piece, like that. So this divides there. Okay? And so we continue here. Let me remove the arrow. Let me remove the arrow here. Okay. This will continue like this. Okay. You now have your C over x1 minus x2 equals m. There. And we're almost done, okay? We'll only swap places. M should be at the left side and the expression is at the right side. So the final answer should be written m, that should be equal to C over x1 minus x2. There is the required answer there. Okay, all right, that should go for our number 3. I hope you were able to get that. Let's have the fourth. Okay, here's the fourth. All right. All right, here is the fourth number. Let's move the 5 downwards first. Okay, to have more spaces. Solve for y. Okay, solve for y here. Okay, this is not very difficult. Your plan is to move the a and x to the other side because this is a times x plus b times y equals c. Okay, a times x plus b times y equals c. So if you're going to write this, okay, let's change the color. All right, we will start with a times x plus b times y equals c. There, we're after the y, okay? We're after this, the y. Okay, so we will have to move the a and x first by way of subtraction, okay? So you have ax plus by, okay? We will subtract a times x. Remember, this is a times x, b times y, a times x, and we just subtracted ax from left. We will also do that at the right. Whatever you do in left side of the equation, you also do that at the right. Yeah. And so this and this is 0. Okay, that's why we subtracted. We want that 0 so that by will be isolated. So we have b times y equals c minus a times x. There. Okay. All right, we're almost done. We have the y and the b. Now, the only problem there is the b, okay? So usually the b will go by divide, okay? So we will divide now, okay? So this is now b times y. Let's rewrite it first. And then we shall divide both sides. If you divide left, you divide the right. If you add the left, add to the right, okay? It's like that. So this is now divide by b and divide by b. And you see the b cancels out there. And you now have y equal to something, which is the required answer. There. And that's it. That should be it. Y is equal to c minus a times x over b. That's the required answer. We're after the y, okay? That's the question here. Okay, this is the question. There. Solve for y. And we have y in terms of the others. All right, so that goes to our number 4. Let's continue with the number 5. All right, let me proceed to the fifth number. Let me just scroll down. Okay, here's the fifth number. Okay, here's the fifth number. Let us put more space below it. There. Okay, we have S. This is a formula in physics. It's a displacement. The distance S or displacement S is equal to velocity times time plus acceleration times time squared over 2. Okay, that looks familiar to you. We're asked to solve for the acceleration, the A. All right, so we will have to start from the given. Okay, so we have S is equal to velocity times time plus acceleration times time squared over 2. All right, we're after this A. All right, so we will have to move this. Okay, that's the objective there. All right, so first thing you will do is it add? Is it subtract? Is it multiply? Is it divide? All right, this is addition here. Okay, that means you can only do either subtract or add. Okay, and this is a positive v times t. So you will subtract v times t from both sides. This is going to be minus v times t. You have, let's remove the underline so it won't be confusing. All right. So you have minus vt from the left side, and you have here the vt plus a t squared over 2, where we'll have v t minus, okay, minus there. All right, so when you do that, this and this zeros out. And what you will have at the right side will only be the term with the a t squared over 2 there. Because this vt and the other vt, okay, this one and this one gives 0, okay? All right, so you can see that already, okay? All right, so let me just remove other things there. Okay, so the right side is now a t squared over 2. The left side has the s minus velocity times time there. Okay, what you need to do is multiply both sides by the 2, okay? Because we need to move the 2 and the t squared, okay? So what you do next is times 2 there. S minus vt times 2. And also the right side times 2. You have at squared over 2 there, okay? And this 2 cancels out with this 2. You only now have the right side a t squared there. And the left side is still 2 times s minus vt, and inside the parentheses like that. Okay, we're almost done. We now have a t squared to the right side. We only need to move away the t squared. Okay, now you ask yourself, is it add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Okay, a and t squared are being multiplied, so you will use divide there. So that t squared will cancel out. So you just have to decide which of the 4 operations you need to do in order to reach the next simplification. Okay, so the next step is to divide by t squared. Okay, so this will look like this. You have 2 times, let's put a fence there. All right, let's put a fence. All right, you have 2 times s minus v times t, okay, equals a t squared. Okay, what you need to do is just divide by the t squared there. And the t squared cancels out, okay, at the right side. It cancels out like that. And you now have a, okay? You just have a there. You just have a there. Okay, so something went up on my screen. All right, that's equal to a t squared over t squared. T squared cancels out with the t squared. You will just have the a variable right there. So this is now a, and this left side is 2 times s minus vt over t squared. There. So it's almost done. I will just write the final answer at the left side, okay? Because there's no more space here. Or will it fit? Will it still fit? All right, let me just fit it in. A is equal to 2 times s minus vt all over t squared. There. That doesn't look like number 2. Let me just clear it out. That should be 2. All right, this is divide, and this is squared. There. That should be it. That should be the final answer. Let me do something about that. Okay. All right, that's it. I saw a low back there. All right, so A is equal to 2 times S minus VT over T squared. All right, that's the final answer for number 5. Okay, hope you were able to get that. Let's have number 6. Okay, let's continue with the 6th number. All right, here's number 6. This is a formula for I think this is trapezoid, okay? Trapezoid. If you still remember your geometry, and the figure goes like this. There, this is the height, and this is base 1, and this is the lower base there. And the area is A. So it's base 1 plus base 2, okay, over 2. The average of the base, or the two bases, the average of this times the height. That gives the formula for area of trapezoid. Now, we're asked to solve for base 2, okay? So we're after this variable here, okay? So you will move the 2, you will move the h, then you will move the b1. That's the objective there, to come up with b2. All right, so first thing you will do is multiply both sides by the 2, so 2 cancels out at the right. So start with 2 times a, 2 times h times the quantity b1 plus b2. And you have your over 2 there. You see the 2 cancels out with the 2. And your next line will be simpler. Let's put it over here. Twice the area is now equal to height times the quantity b1 plus b2. Remember, there's a parenthesis there, okay? So that means the added bases are to be multiplied by h. So to move the h, you will have to use divide, okay? All right. So you will now have to, at this point, you will have to divide by the h, like this. Because you're after the b2, this h cancels out, okay? You now have twice the area over height is equal to the sum b1 plus b2, there. Okay, just one more step and it's finished, okay? So this will now be moving the b1 by way of subtraction, okay? Because b1 added to b2. So how do you reverse addition? It's subtraction. So you will subtract b1 from both sides. So this is now going to be twice the area over the height minus b1 is equal to b1 plus b2, okay, minus b1, of course. Let me rewrite that. Let me rewrite that. Okay, so this will be twice area over height equals b1 plus b2 minus b1, there. Okay, so you see b1 and b1 cancels out to 0, and you're left on the right side, the b2. So that means the right side is b2, the left side is something with b1. b1 minus b1, you still have minus b1 here. Minus b1. Let me add the minus b1 there. Let me add the minus b1 here. So this is minus, how do you rewrite that? Let me do the erasure. All right, this is twice area over height minus b1, there. All right, b1 is supposed to be subtracted from both sides. So you now have b2 that is equal to twice area over height minus b1, there. And you only need to swap positions. b2 should be written at the left side, and this is equal to twice the area over height minus b1, there. Okay, that's it. That should be the final answer there. Twice the area divided by h minus b1 is the b2. Okay, so I hope you were able to get that solution. Okay, this is the way to solve literal equations. In some cases, there are other ways of simplifying this. You can also multiply the B1 by h over h so that you will have everything divided by h. I mean something like this. B2 can be written twice area minus B1 times h over h. There, okay, like that. Twice the area, okay, minus B1h over h. There, okay. That's another way of writing the equivalent of B2 so that it looks like a big fraction there. All right, so I hope you're getting the way to do this. Let's continue with the number 7. Number 7. All right, so if you don't have questions on this, we'll continue with the next number. All right, here is the next number. Okay, this is Fahrenheit equals 9 over 5 centigrade plus 32. Solve for centigrade in terms of Fahrenheit. Okay, so it's another physics formula. All right, you're after the C here. Okay, here's what we do. Let's use the blue. Okay, here's what you need to do. We start with the given Fahrenheit is equal to 9 over 5 C plus 32. Okay, you can deduct the 32 so that you can isolate the term with the C. Okay, so deduct 32 from both sides. So F minus 32 is equal to 9 over 5 C plus 32 minus 32. There. And the 32 is 0 there. You now have 9 over 5C equals F minus 32. So you have a simpler version like this. You have 9 over 5C there. Okay. Now we're after the C, not 9 over 5 times C. So we will have to move the 9 over 5 by multiplying it by 5 over 9. Okay. All right. So what you need to do at this point, multiply both sides by 5 over 9. So 5 over 9 times the quantity. Don't forget the parentheses. Because when you multiply left side, you have to multiply this quantity there. Okay. All right. So just don't forget that part. All right. So we multiply f minus 32 by 5 over 9. And this is equal to 5 over 9 also times 9 over 5c there. And you see the numbers cancels out at the right side. 5 and 5, 9 and 9. And you will now have just the letter C. Okay. So the next line is 5 over 9 times the quantity f minus 32. Let me write that. F minus 32. And this is just equal to C there. But like what I said, you have to write letter first equal to something. So the final answer is written this way. C is equal to 5 over 9 times the quantity F minus 32 there. Okay. So that would be for number 7, and that should be the final answer. All right, so we'll continue with 3 more numbers as examples. Okay. All right, let's have the next. I hope you're learning from it. Let's have number 8. Here's number 8. We put more space there. All right. This is something about gravitational force. That's G, gravitational constant. That's mass 1, mass 2 over distance between the two masses. All right. Okay. Solve for the distance r. Okay. Solve for the distance r. Okay. So this will involve square root. Okay. Square root because r is squared. To neutralize the squared, you will have to use square root. Okay. So this is what we need to do. Multiply both sides by the r squared. So let's start from the given. Let's start from the right side. Okay, we have F is equal to the gravitational constant, and then this is mass 1, mass 2, and this is r squared there. Okay, we're after the r. So let's isolate r right away by multiplying both sides by r squared. So we multiply the left, that becomes r squared times f, and then we multiply the right side of the equation, r squared times the entire quantity g mass 1 mass 2 over r squared. And you see the right side, okay, r squared cancels out there. And the right side will simply become g times mass 1 and mass 2 there. And the right side is g times mass 1 and mass 2. The left is r squared times f there. Okay. Next thing to do is divide by the f, because r squared times f, okay, they can be isolated by way of division, okay, division. So the next thing to do is r squared over here times f equals g times mass 1 times mass 2, okay. You can now isolate the r squared by division. Divide this by f, and f cancels out there. Okay, this cancels out now. F divides by f. You now have r squared equal to g mass 1 mass 2 over the force there. All right. Remember, we're asked to solve for r. Solve for r. But this is r squared. Okay, so we're going to apply square root. The square root of this and the square root of the right there. So that this is now, the next line is r equal to the square root. Okay, you have the fraction inside. You have the product g mass 1 mass 2 over the force there. And that's it. That's equivalent of the r. Okay, that goes to our number 8. All right, next, let's continue with number 9. Okay, number 9. All right, okay. All right, here's number 9. Okay, let me continue. We will put more space there. And we put this up. Okay, this is actually centripetal force. Okay, so if you remember in science, that's centripetal force equals mass times velocity squared over the radius of the circular path. Okay, with respect to the center. All right, so you're asked to solve for v, and you again have you have there a v squared. So this will involve square root again. Okay, the moment you have v squared equal to something, you still have to apply square root. Okay, all right. So first thing you will do is remove the fraction by canceling the r. You can only cancel that by multiplying both sides by the r. Okay, again, you always remind yourself, okay, the 4 basic operation. So it add, subtract, multiply, divide to simplify, starting from the first step. Okay. All right. You can see here a fraction. If you can only have a r on the numerator, it will divide by the r. So to put the r at the numerator of the fraction, you have to multiply both sides by r. All right. So this will start with, okay, this will start with, let us put more space. Okay. There. All right. So this will start with r times f is equal to r times mv squared over r. And the r divides there. Okay. And you now have r, okay, times f is equal to mass times velocity squared. Okay. At least we were able to isolate the velocity. Okay. We're after the v here, so what is next is to move the m, okay? All right, ask yourself, is it add, multiply, divide, subtract? Okay, that looks like divide, okay, because they are being multiplied, they're together, m times v squared. So you're going to apply divide here. So you have r times f, you have m times v squared. You can now remove the m by way of divide or division there. And that cancels out there. So you were able to isolate the velocity squared at this point there. And the left side is product of radius and force over mass. Okay, you're after v, not v squared. So you have to apply square root. Okay, square root. Now at this point, you can already interchange. You can now interchange places. You can put v squared at the left because they're equivalent. And the right side is the product of radius and force over the mass. All right, there. Okay, you now apply square root to both sides. Okay, there, like that. And this will be now v. Velocity is equal to the square root of the product of radius and force, centripetal force over mass. There. Okay, that's the equivalent of velocity. All right. So this is for number 9. Okay, we're still in a literal equation. All right. So this will be for number 9. Let's have the last number. Okay, let's have the last number. Here's number 10. There. All right. This is perimeter of a rectangle. Okay, perimeter of a rectangle. So we're done with geometry. This is let me draw that. This is the length, width, width. Okay. So if you're going to have the formula for perimeter, it's twice the length plus twice the width. So the given is perimeter is equal to twice the length plus twice the width. You're asked to solve the width in terms of perimeter and length. Okay, so your first step is to remove the 2L by way of subtraction. So P minus 2L is equal to 2L plus 2W minus 2L. There. So this zeroes out, and the right side is just 2W. Okay, and this is perimeter minus twice length. All right, we're after W, so you only need to move the 2. You still have a number 2 beside it. That number 2 can be removed by way of division. Okay, so we'll just divide. So perimeter minus twice length plus twice width. You divide by 2, then you divide by 2. There. And you have the width is equal to perimeter minus twice the length over 2. There. And the final answer, okay, the width is perimeter minus twice length over 2. There. That should be it. And that's it. We have the 10 examples. I hope you were able to learn from the solution. Okay. All right. So this will be all for now. I hope you were able to learn from our examples. Okay. See you later and bye-bye.